Yep, looks very destructive. Well, what I'm doing today is probably a waste of time really, but I didn't want to buy another vacuum for the house here that I had to buy batteries for all the time, that I couldn't buy batteries for or easily replace the battery in, so that's where we're at. So I just decided I would make it so I could hook this battery to the back of it, bolted onto the back cover. When I originally did it, I just put a coil of wire in here to try to reduce the amperage that was getting to the motor a little bit, but the motor was starting to show signs of not liking that, let us say. So I bought this little guy here. This is a voltage reducer. Converts anything 8 to 40 down to 12 volts. I've tested it, and it's with the motor running, it's about 11.5 on the meter I tested it with. It was just a cheap meter, but a lot better than 18 volts going to this motor. The first thing you're going to need is a little bit more room, and this will probably work with any kind of vacuum cleaner as long as you can find enough space to put this little converter in there. But I used this bit on a drill, and I just carved out the extra plastic, got myself enough room to where this will sit down in it, made a little space through the bottom right here where the wires can come up through, and that now fits inside the case. Then I'm just going to wire it as per the instructions right here. These are my inputs, these are my outputs. The one thing that I'm going to do, because I read something on the internet that says, well, actually it was in the comments, and it said that these things will slowly drain a battery if you leave them hooked to power. So I've tested it, and it seems to work by switching the two input wires instead of switching the output wires. So when the vacuum's not running, the input will not be hooked to the battery so that I don't kill the battery. Other than that, just wiring it up normally. And when you do this, you want to make sure that you're spinning the fan the right direction. I checked to see which one was positive and negative on it when I took it apart, because the battery still had enough life in them to take a charge and at least show me voltage at that. So I've got my positive and my negative, and I'll wire these two to that. I'll wire these two through the battery and through the switch, and that should do it. First thing I'm going to try to do is figure out wire routing and how long the wires need to be so I can get them tucked in here so they are kind of neat and I can get the case closed again. I'm not going to show all of the wiring that I do on this because the wiring would be different for any different type of vacuum cleaner, and I'm going to leave it to your imagination to figure out how to wire it up, so you can't say that I caused you to burn your shop down or something because I showed you how to wire it. But anyway, should be pretty straightforward, routing the wires through. These two to the motor, these two up to the switch. Well, here it is, soldered together, heat shrink in place. Let's see if we can find a battery. Hold on to the motor and hit the start switch. Seems like it works. Now if I can just get it all reassembled, I can clean this mess up. Make sure I get these wires tucked into the little groove that I made for them, and everything should fit. I'm trying to put it in the wrong way. It might fit better this way. I don't know. Well, something's not lined up in my new step-down transformer case, or whatever you want to call that thing. Oh, there it went. Yes, it's together. Slap a couple screws in it. Fingers crossed. It should still work with it all bolted together. And now it'll last as long as the motor lasts. All right, and I will post an update in the video description if any of this stuff dies, and links for the parts I used will be in the video description. Consider subscribing, like, and share. Thanks for watching. And that worked. I can feel air coming out of those holes, so a little bit of air is flowing through there to keep all that cool. But like I said before, I don't think it'll ever run long enough for that big aluminum case in there to even warm up.